Picture this. You are a noble and a general working for a faction or kingdom in the early Middle Ages, or rather late Roman Empire, early Middle Ages. You just won a really big battle, and you're pretty proud of yourself. You're even more proud when your men bring you the enemy commander. They ask you what you want to be done with him. You contemplate holding him for ransom, since that could get you a lot of money. But you already captured a lot of soldiers who could be held for ransom, and possibly sold into slavery, so the war effort and paying your men are being funded. And this enemy commander is dangerous. So, making the logical decision based on cold, calculating logic, you decide to order his head be brought to you. The question is, would anyone care? And who would care? So this question is based on Bannerlord. In Bannerlord, which is basically meant to represent the late Roman Empire, early Middle Ages, you can execute enemy nobles when you capture them. But doing so makes everyone on your planet, including your own faction, hate you. But now, would your faction actually care? And which factions would care? I'm going to go over all these factions based on their historical inspirations, and go over whether they would care or not. And this is why I have the Warband wiki up, because I don't know all their historical inspirations. Let's see, history, blah 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 blah. The first one, the Assarai, okay. Based on real-life Arabic tribes pre-Islamic conquests. Okay, yeah, over Mir, Muslim countries, Banu Sarasam, Vensi supplement them. Oh yeah, these guys became the Saranid Sultanate, and they seem based on Arabs pre-Islamic conquest. So, to answer whether they would care if you killed foreign nobles, I don't know. I don't know enough about Arabic cultures in that period to say if they would. It might be different if they were based on the Parthians, who I know had no problem killing at least Roman nobles who invaded them, like Crassus. But, don't know. Alright, now the High Kingdom of Battania. I know these guys are loosely based on the Celts. But let's see, is there any specific Celts they're based of? Now, that name seems Welsh to me. So, yeah, a lot of these seems Welsh. Let me see. Okay, based on different Celtic peoples, early medieval, settlements mixture of some Celtic... Yeah, okay, so they use Fauxes like the Dacians, use Sacians. Okay, yeah, so here's the thing. With the Battanians, they're based on the Celts. And the thing is, the Celts were never one nation. They're more like an ethnic group. Asking whether or not the Celts would approve of killing a foreign noble who's at war with you is like asking, would the Slavs be okay with it? Or would the Saxons be okay with it? Like, what Saxons are we talking about? The Saxons in Saxony, the Saxons in England, the Saxons in the US? And like, what? Yeah, so lots of different kingdoms that would have had different opinions on it based on time period too. Now, in the early Middle Ages, the main source that I'm drawing from is the fact that the Irish actually managed to capture a Viking leader during one of the big Viking invasions of Ireland, and they killed him by drowning him. So at the very least, the Irish would be okay with it, and I highly doubt the Celts, like the Dacians, were they even Celts? I'm not sure if the Dacians were Celts, honestly. But even assuming they were, the Dacian Celts and the other Celts of the earlier Roman times, they would have had no problem killing invading nobles. Like, none whatsoever. Now, next up, the Khuzait Cognate. Now, these guys are based on steppe nomads. Which exact steppe nomads doesn't really matter all that much, because, look, the answer is the same for all of them. Pretty much all of them would be fine with killing foreign nobles that you captured. The steppe nomads have very similar thoughts on this. The only exceptions were some taboos based around spilling the blood of kings by Mongols, but that didn't mean they couldn't kill a foreign king. just that they couldn't spill his blood when doing it, and there are lots of ways to kill someone without spilling their blood. Now next up, the Sturgians. Now I'm pretty sure these guys are based on the Russians, as in, okay, Nordic traders, and okay, yeah, they're clearly based on the early medieval Russians, but let me double check. Yeah, Kievan Rus. And the answer in this case is they'd probably be fine with it, but I don't know enough about them to say for sure. Now, the Valandians are based on the Normans. And this is the only faction so far that I think would have a problem with killing captured foreign nobles. Oh, yeah, based on Normans of Normandy, Conquest William, Robert Guiscard, Bohemond, yeah. Oh, and then I say this in part because, well, a lot of the Normans tended to capture foreign nobles rather than necessarily killing them. Like, Morcar rebelled against William I, and Morcar spent the rest of his life in prison, but William himself never killed him. That being said, if it's in battle, absolutely, but if it's a surrendered one, maybe not. Alright, now moving on to the Empire faction. These are based on the Romans. And, okay, so they're a bit of a more complex one in theory, because they're all technically part of the same empire. However, they're in civil war with each other. But here's the thing. If you lost a Roman civil war, chances are you were, like, dead unless you switched sides. The Romans had no problem killing Roman nobles in civil wars, or in many cases even outside of it during political conflicts. So they'd have no problem with you killing captured enemy nobles. Now, as long as you're part of their empire, and this is the caveat I'm bringing in, if you were, say, a Valandian, and you captured and killed Archon Baranor, pretty much all the Empire guys would hate you for it. Like, because if you're an outsider, you do not kill a member of the Empire, even if it's one that you're enemies with, at least if they're like the Romans in terms of attitude. But on the other hand, if you're like if you're, say, a Batanian and you kill this guy, they're not going to care. And they will have no problem whatsoever killing foreign nobles. And now finally, the Nords. Do I even need to say anything else about this? The Nords don't get... The Nords are based on the Norse, and the Norse kill nobles all the time. Like, both of their own internal conflicts, and they had no problem killing external nobles, and if you captured someone, even if it's a foreign noble, they wouldn't have cared if you sold them into slavery, killed them, or did something else. Unless there was some specific reason for letting them live, like an unusually high ransom, or if holding them hostage would benefit you more than killing them, but in the scenario I set up earlier, it wouldn't, so yeah, that's what I had to say. Thank you for watching, everyone, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe.